And our word for today on this Monday of the first week of Advent, on this Monday, December the 2nd, our word for today is subject. Subject, our word for today. And here to talk about it, Father Mark Davis. Now, Father, there's lots of ways to go with this word subject, but in this particular context, it's under one's authority.
Right. And it just reminds me of servant and that. But before we get to the word.
Here we go, $20.
So are you saying that the Christmas party, there's a party, which means fun, that's going to start at 7 in the morning?
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm just, for all the morning people in the listening area.
But it's free breakfast, Father.
Of course.
Thank you for encouraging people to come. Thank you.
It's always good to have a party where the expectation is low.
I tell you, that will be something that I'll even get up for to be able to go. But that's a party. That's how much people love you if they're going to get up.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you get bacon.
Ooh.
That's the Christmas present. Now, Father, don't disappoint me. Now, Ron and I have a bet going about this is subject, under one's authority.
Right.
Yeah.
A man is walking through the park.
There we go.
When he spots an elderly man crying his eyes out on a park bench. Feeling empathetic, he sits down beside the man and tries to initiate conversation. Hey, so sorry that you're troubled. You having troubles with your wife? Wife? Oh, no, not at all. I have an amazing wife at home. She's a beautiful person. We've been married for 50 years. She's an amazing cook, too. Trouble with your kids and grandkids? My kids? Oh, no, not at all. I've got a litter of handsome and successful kids at home. They're all married, great people, and I have wonderful grandchildren. Really? Well, money trouble them? Money? No, I got all the money I could possibly want at home. And I've inherited millions from my father. I invested all of it in getting tens of thousands of dollars in return every month. Well, is there a problem with your house then? My house? No. I live in a beautiful 3-story mansion with servants, a pool, and a double garage. Then, sir, why in the world are you crying? I can't remember where I live.
Oh, no. Yeah, everything is good at home. I just got to get to home.
So yesterday we began the season of Advent. This is the beginning of the liturgical year.
Yeah.
And it's time that we remember where we live. It's all about preparation, and we are reminded that from the beginning of God's talking to human beings in our Jewish Christian tradition, which starts with Abraham, from the beginning, man has had to wait. I mean, Abraham went to this land of milk and honey to a 7-year famine. He was promised descendants as numerous as the stars, and he got them because every Jewish person, every Muslim, and every Christian is a descendant of Abraham, but it was years later. And then, the Egyptians were enslaved, and they spent years waiting for God to save them. And when he did, then they wandered 40 years in the desert. Right. Then they started, anticipating a Messiah, and that was hundreds of years. There is something about being subject to God's authority, that we remember that God's ways are not our ways, and that God's timing is not our timing, and that we hardly ever get anything right away, but we always get much more than we ever dreamed of. And I think as we begin Advent, this word subject is that we sometimes forget where we live and whose authority we are subjected to, and that our real home is in God, because anything of this world, as Bishop Barron always says, people in this world always want to go for pleasure and for wealth and for fame, and for power, but those things don't last. And our real home is in God, and there is something about putting ourselves subject to God's authority that gives us freedom and peace and this everlasting life that Jesus says is right here, right now. The kingdom of God is here. And I don't think we understand how horrible the life of the Israelites were, the Jewish people were, in Jesus' time. So in the midst of your corrupt king, Herod, and the horribleness of the Roman soldiers and your horrible life, God is here. And so open up your eyes and get ready for it. So as we begin Advent, and we remember that God's calling us home, let's not remember where our home is. And our home is in spirit. Our home is in God. And that the more that we remember that we are subject to the authority of God and God's ways, because God is the one who's in control of life, when it begins and when it ends. We don't control when people die and we ourselves die. We don't control a lot of things. But the more that we can see ourselves subject to God's authority, the more that we remember where our home is in God, and the more we make room for Jesus in this time of Advent, then the happier that we'll be. So as we begin this holy season, let us take the time to prepare ourselves for the coming of Jesus.